Oh, hello, this is Tak Chung from Walk with Tak. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. I was a college professor for 30 years, and I believe in the power of knowledge. For example, if you know fast and processed food is bad for you, then you can choose not to eat them. After I retired from my teaching, I decided I'm going to write a book on the relationship between food and our health. And I hope this knowledge will help people to choose the right food. And after I worked on the book for about a year, I decided I was actually totally wrong. Most people know fast and processed foods are bad for them, but they continue to eat them. And our waistline continue to expand. So knowledge alone is not enough. We also need to know how. So I abandoned my project on why and focus on how, and this is the genesis of my YouTube channel as well as my fast cooking system, which flew its 4 attributes: int, flavor chasing, advanced prepping, stir frying, and template-based cooking to show people how to cook the food that is healthy for them. In the modern world, there are many barriers to home cooking, and fast and processed food are always in the background to replace home cooking. In order to make home cooking sustainable, it must be a viable alternative to fast and processed food. And it has to be practical, efficient, creative, and fun. And last but not the least, it has to taste good. Last night I created this pasta dish with chicken, a mushroom, Parmesan cheese, and pesto. And this dish checked all the boxes. First of all, it is completely cooked from scratch, used fresh ingredients. And secondly, it is fast. It took only about 10 minutes. And third, it tastes great. And fourth, it makes use of the ingredients that I already have on hand. And fifth, it requires no recipes. First, the most important driving force that allowed me to cook this dish so quickly and with such spontaneity is because of advanced prepping. As my friend Ivy once said to me, that advanced prepping is the fuel that drives the fast cooking system. And for this dish, I already have some pasta noodle on hand that is ready to use. I have chicken that I already advanced prep in the freezer, and I can have them available to cook in about 10 minutes. And I have mushroom already cut up that is ready to be used. And I have some pesto that I purchased about 2 months ago when I used it to make bruschetta. I also found some shredded Parmesan cheese that I should use up. As the chicken being thawed out, I gather all these ingredients. In fact, I have a little bit of time. I set up table as well. And the reason that I can cook this dish without a recipe are because I use 2 basic templates that I am already familiar with. The first template is how to make a lo mein dish, which is very similar to a spaghetti pasta dish. A second template is to shallow fry the chicken and then cook them with mushrooms. And by making minor modifications and small adjustments, I can easily make this spaghetti pasta noodle dish. I block the chicken dry to remove any excess fluid, and then I coat the chicken with 1 teaspoon of garlic pepper. This is followed by 1 teaspoon of my basic seasoning mix. This seasoning mix provides additional umami flavor to enhance the natural flavor of the ingredients. And then I add 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. This seasoning strategy will give the chicken a light crispy texture and also great flavor. This is much better than marinate the chicken. Okay, I'm ready to cook the chicken. I cooked this in my Cuisinart 14-inch stainless steel wok. I started with about 2 tablespoons of canola oil. And then I seasoned the wok using my spot seasoning method to create a non-stick cook surface. I add about 8 ounces of chicken to the wok, and I use a pair of long handled tongs to spread the chicken out into a thin layer. This method is frequently known as shallow frying. It's not that different from deep frying, except you fry the food ingredient on one side first and you turn them over to fry the other side. The advantage of this method is that you only need to use a very small amount of oil in comparison to deep frying. It takes about 45 to 60 seconds to create a crispy texture on the surface of the chicken and also cause some browning. You then turn the chicken over to fry the other side. Because the chicken has been thinly sliced, it cooks very quickly. This is an excellent way to create crispy texture on the surface of the chicken, and also the seasoning will add flavor to the chicken. I have tried many different ways to cook chicken in a wok. This is definitely one of the best ways, if not the best. In fact, my wife would not want me to cook chicken in any other ways. While I am frying the chicken on the other side, I'm going to add some mushroom to the wok. I use about 1 cup of thinly sliced portobello mushroom. I spread out the mushroom on the surface of the chicken. This way, the mushroom will cook slowly while the chicken finishes being cooked the other side. You notice that so far I use my pair of long handled tongs. This is very handy when you want to have better manipulation of the individual pieces of food ingredients. Next, I'm going to switch to my wok spatula. This will allow me to stir fry all the ingredients together. And now the chicken is almost done. I'm going to add a small amount of water to the wok for 2 reasons. First is I want to create a very light sauce. A second reason is that by adding small amount of water right over the area where food ingredients has been burned and stick to the bottom of the wok, I can use the wok spatula to detach them. I call this method spot cleaning because basically I'm cleaning the wok at the same time as I cook. This method is also very similar to another culinary technique known as deglazing. A few quick stir, the dish is done. I transfer it to a serving plate and set it aside. I'm also going to garnish the chicken with a small amount of scallions. There's a great advantage by cooking this separately, because this will allow me to have better control of the texture of the chicken and the mushrooms. Okay, now I'm ready to cook the noodles. I use my lo-mein template to cook these noodles. I use 3 cups of spaghetti noodles that I cooked about 4 days ago. I have cooked 2 pounds of noodles and I have used them already cooked 2 different dishes, a lo-mein and a pan-fried noodles. I use a pair of long handled tongs to break them apart. I then add 2 tablespoons of pesto. I keep the heat at low to prevent the noodle from getting burned. The tongs work very well to mix the noodles with the pesto. In fact, the method is exactly the same as I would make a lo-mein. And next I add the chicken and mushroom to the wok. In a few quick mix, the dish is ready to be served. The total cook time of this dish is about 10 minutes. So basically, I use 2 different templates to cook this dish. The first template is how to shallow fry chicken, and the second template is a lo-mein template. In here, I use my wok to cook this dish, but it is obvious that you can use a frying pan as well. So advanced prepping by having the noodles, the mushroom, and the chicken all ready to go, it makes cooking this dish very efficient. And by flavor chasing, using the same method, I can switch the template from an Asian flavor to an Italian flavor. And using stir frying, I can greatly accelerate the cooking process. And with template-based cooking, I can cook this dish with greater spontaneity and intuition without the use of recipes. And last but not the least, because I have some Parmesan cheese on hand, so I garnish the dish with Parmesan cheese. This demonstrates the power of template-based cooking because you can make adaptations and modifications depending on what you have on hand. And to me, this is what makes home cooking fun and creative. As my friend Jackson once told me that the fast cooking system gives him almost limitless opportunity, and he can vastly increase his repertoire without learning any new recipes. If you'd like to learn more about my fast cooking system, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I post a video each day, so keep on cooking. I will see you tomorrow.